Right, so I just got back from WH Smith, and we've got the Darktide magazine. I haven't even looked through it, so I have no idea what's in it. I hope the audio is okay on this and the picture as well, but I probably will take pictures, so it's a bit easier for you guys to see, obviously, who's watching this. But without, let's go through and see if I got my predictions right, which I probably didn't. Let's have a look. Okay, well, no one gives a crap about that stuff. Yeah, Cyberpunk, whatever. Okay, what the hell? Okay. Grim darkness, over the top, violence, and humour. Okay, that's already a good start, because obviously we want to have that sort of stuff. So I'm going to try and read, but if I can't, then, that's just my bad English. You can barely swing a Catachan deaf feline these days without hitting a Warhammer game. And the sad truth is, a lot of them aren't great. Oh, okay, so they're pretty honest about that. But that only makes it more special when a developer really gets Games Workshop's world. But that only makes it more special when a developer really gets Games Workshop's worlds. Okay, so, right, that makes sense. God, I'm sticky, Jesus. And there is any developer that gets it more than Fat Shark. With the Vermintide series, it found the perfect balance of grim darkness, over-the-top violence, and most importantly, absurdity and humour. I couldn't be more excited that they're back to take a crack at 40,000 and mix up their co-op formula with even bigger, spikier weapons of war. Okay, so, right off the bat, very looking promising, okay? I'm super excited, so... Where the hell's Darktide? I don't give a crap about any of this other stuff. Yeah, Game of the Year, don't give a crap. So Darktide, 36. So let's go straight to 36. Obviously just making sure we don't miss anything here. It doesn't seem like there's anything interesting. So, yeah, Dracula, who gives a crap? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but where used to be a dinosaur game. Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, well, whoever wants that, first come, first serve. I mean, if you want it, feel free to take it. Vermintide, give it to a friend or something. Hopefully somebody gets it. I mean, I already have Vermintide, so we can get that right. Okay, oh my god, this is a pain. Can I rip this out? Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah, fuck. We're here. Light up. Warhammer 40k Darktide is coming, so grab your torch and chainsword. Okay, so, once again, we have our pretty, traitor guardsman on the front cover there. Looking very nice, if I may say so. So, okay, whoa, okay, a lot of information here. Holy crap. Okay, so let's start right at the top here. So, after 5 more years, surrounded by Vermintide's skittering, shrieking Skaven, Fat Shark jumped into the grimdark future Warhammer 40,000. Darktide pits another 4 brave souls against unrelenting waves of monstrous enemies in the city being corrupted by the power of chaos. It's a meat grinder, so obviously a lot of melee and probably a lot of fighting, but you get to the teeth chewing through hordes, leaving nothing but dismemberment body parts in your blood wake. And this time there are chainswords. Okay, pretty much just wiping Doom out the floor. Who gives a shit about Doom now? I mean, you've got Darktide now. There was a teaser trailer in July, but since then Fat Shark haven't given much away about its next co-op outing. Chatting to the team, it's clear that they're being careful about what exactly they reveal and what is still fairly early stage. They want to keep some surprises, but there's also much that's still up in the air. They're asking themselves a lot of questions about Darktide's final form. We are still iterating on it and still trying to find our feet, says Fat Shark co-founder Martin. I'm sorry, mate, if I butcher this. Warhund. That's probably terrible. It's all about the fun factor and getting it right, and getting the feeling right. We want to welcome Vermintide players. That's good, obviously trying to appeal to the fantasy, but we also want to make sure that everyone who hasn't played them is just as welcome, and we need to onboard them in a good way. What is clear is that Darktide expands on Vermintide rather than completely renovating it. So that's kind of good. You charge into missions with 3 friends, okay, very similar, slaughtering your way through enemies with the occasional breaks for some problem solving, and over the course of your misadventures, you grow stronger, get better equipment, and maybe tart yourself up with a bit of cosmetic flourishes. Okay, that's good. I mean, cosmetics, as long as they're not in loot boxes, we're definitely good with that. Without that familiar routine, however, Fat Shark is tinkering away and planning some significant changes, with seemingly every little system being put under the microscope. So, they're expanding on Vermintide. This is what I'm getting from this. Oh my god, the magazine's always so sticky. Grim Tidings. The setting, of course, I can't read this word. Necessitates some of these changes. This is the far-flung future, so there's fancy tech, guns everywhere, our gargantuan hive cities that houses billions of people, but this is still a universe with knights who wade into battle with swords and shields. There's a medieval fantasy element, a gun-toting sci-fi, which means there's a potential for a lot more flexibility. We want to make it possible for players to play in more ways, says Woolhand. I'm sorry if I butchered that again. So we're going to have way more customization than we had in Vermintide. Okay, that already has sold me the game. Like, the fact that we've got a lot more customization is going to be insane. Like, I'm so glad about that. We're working a lot of that you'll see, and more varied characters. He stops short of actually unveiling the full list of who exactly will be playing, unfortunately. The Imperial Guardsman is the only one that's been confirmed, though more haven't been shown off in concept art and trailers, including a huge Ogrin. I'm not gonna talk about how we pronounce the word Ogrin. Fatshark's desires for variety has manifested itself in several ways, and the most fundamental perhaps is melee and range combat now sharing the spotlight. Vermintide is a first-person melee series with several ranged options, but in Darktide it's an even split. Guns are extremely common in 40k, but tabletop fights still frequently devolve into close quarter brawls, and this makes it even more sense within the confines of the Hive City. So that's already a good thing. When you use depends on the mission you're on, as well as specific encounters, so character builds are becoming more situational, expanding the gameplay loop to include a range component and seeing how we can push that to provide a better variety of gameplay experiences. Also connects with the loadout choices that you make both personally and as a team, says game designer Matt Anderson. I'm probably butchering that as well. You get to play target group setups or make one with a very wide variety of different playstyles. If you looked at Vermintide 2, you are more pigeonholed than we wanted to make this type of game. So that's interesting. So they actually admit that Vermintide was kind of like, sort of like restricting your gameplay and how you wanted to play. So it seems with Darktide, they're going to make it a lot more flexible in how you create your character and how you play the game. We want to provide more options for you to approach the same kind of content. Hive minds. Before they delve back into infestant hive for another mission, the squad can prepare for the challenge with more granular customization. Okay, it's not just about picking the right tools and accessories for the job. Fatshark is also considering things like talents for weapons. Okay, not just characters, and generally more ways that let you refine your character and augurate possession buzz. Okay, Allerate? Yeah, something like that. So basically, it seems like the customization and like the choice of how you customize your weapons and stuff like that is going even more deep now. The fact that talents are going to be on guns now, you know, possibly giving you more reload, more damage, better headshot accuracy or hip fire, that sort of stuff. I assume that's what we're getting at here. As we've seen in Vermintide, players really enjoy tweaking their loadouts, says creative director Anders D. Gear. And since we have a lot of great modelers, also want to tweak individual weapons, talents, and other great stuff, and also other stuff. So we are working with a system right now that will allow players to have way more freedom than they had in Vermintide to customize their toolkit when they go into a mission. This is something Fatshark's already been trying to do more in Vermintide, letting players have more control over their rat-slaying adventures via everything from rebalancing weapon choices to introducing entirely new subclasses as DLC. In Darktide, though, it sounds like even more targeted approach is going to be cropping up everywhere from the off. You can't make choices about loadouts and talents without proper intel, and that's where the mission maps come into play. This is the evolution of Vermintide 2, rather than plain mission board that and offers up a selection of crises affecting the various sectors of the gargantuan city. So it seems like basically it's going to tell us like these are the enemies that are there. You know, they might be weak to a certain type of weapon, so you might want to equip this sort of weapon. I think that's what they're getting at here. Like, you know, basically, you know, one of those sort of raid games or something like an art. You know, they sort of say like, oh, equip these, you know, sort of traits to your gun because they're going to do a lot more damage on this mission. The idea is you'll be able to see at a glance just how intense the mission will be and what modifiers are affecting it, like acid rain or blackouts. Oh, blackouts, yes. Oh man, that means that flashlights are going to play a huge game in this. Oh my god, that's got me so hyped. Can you just imagine walking down a corridor and it's going to be pitch black with a flashlight? Oh my god, that horror aspect of this game is going to be even better. The city consistently changing too, with missions vanishing and maps you've already explored getting a refresh thanks to some fresh quirks. That's good. Because that was one of the problems that Vermintide 2 had, was replayability. So the fact that actually addressing that now and making, you know, maps a bit more replayable with a different few tweaks in there, that's really going to be a big thing. In Vermintide 2, a lot of the you know, before we move on, I'm actually going to look at here. So what we got here is we got the humble guardsman in Laz gun toting backbone of the Imperial army. So pretty much Guardsman is confirmed then. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, I can't really tell what... I mean, it's definitely not Akkadian Guardsman. I think it might be actually like a sort of like Inquisitor Guard, you know, like Acolyte. I think they've actually sort of done like their own customization on this person to sort of make him that he's not tied to any sort of like, you know, home world, if that makes sense. I'll just read over this as well. Hab zones. The highest billion live Hab zones, where you might even find some survivors holding out against the tide of Nurgle's abominations. So Nurgle, confirm that, Nurgle's abominations, we've always got Nurgle abominations there. But the interesting thing is, that might mean we might have escort missions and also saving hostages, so that's quite a cool part. I will try to get some detailed pictures for you guys while I'm saying this as well. So number 2, walkways. If you want an idea of the scale of the hive, why not visit one of our Gothic picture queue bridges and walkways? Don't look down. So they're going to have some sort of like cinematic part, or something where you can just enjoy it and look at the scenery, I guess. That's quite cool. I like that. That's definitely a cool thing. Hive tours. It's a prime holiday destination. Just ask Nurgle. Yep, once again, Nurgle obviously being a very big focus here. 3, market. Okay, this is going to be a big one. Come to the underground water market to admire the uplifting graffiti and cheery atmosphere. It's probably even nicer now that Nurgle's moved in. I will obviously get a close-up of the picture for you guys, but yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty damn cool. And obviously, it seems Nurgle is going to be the focus enemy now. We've got 4, service tunnels. Why not explore the guts of the hive? Though the weather isn't great, we'll warn you, an umbrella doesn't protect you from acid rain. So they're obviously going to have map effects. That's really a nice addition. Like, the fact they're having map effects as well, because that's going to add a whole new element to it. I mean, blackouts and acid rain, I mean, oh man, I can't wait! Number 5, prison. Don't forget to be on your best behaviour. The Imperium isn't delicate when it comes to upholding the law, hence the bloodstains. So we might be actually working around a prison. Like, is that part of the hive? Or, I don't know, I guess maybe a part of a mission's going to involve a prison at some point? I mean, who knows? So we're going to carry on from the bottom here. So in Vermintide 2, a lot of the Dionism, is that how you say it? Dionism? I'm probably saying that wrong. Came from the conflict director on how we spawned the, oh my god, a lot more here, enemies, says Woolhand. Now we want to have the same type of feeling, but also working with the actual level itself. So it can be a bit different depending on how you play it, and the missions that you play. But also because of the weather, electricity, or gas leaks, there's a lot of things we can play around with to get completely different feeling when you play a mission. Okay, so they're really going for the effects here. Got some nice artwork here, Gothic architecture never really goes out of style. Yeah, I mean, look at that, that's beautiful. That looks amazing, like that, I really like that, that's a nice picture. Oh, okay, Pace Marines. Violence, gores, and waves of enemies are probably the first thing your mind conjures up when you think about Vermintide. But in Darktide, the pace and tension will have more peaks and valleys within curating moments to sneak around or solve a puzzle. Sneak around. Okay, sneak around might be something we might be doing. Okay, so stealth might be there, or solve a puzzle. It's more of what you might expect in a dungeon deviling RPG. So it seems that they're really focusing on improving the levels of Darktide. And this was something that I know a lot of people wanted. A lot of people wanted Darktide to have, like, you know, just the missions to be a lot more involving. It wasn't just sort of a race to the end, you know, here's the start, there's the finish, go as fast as you can and complete the mission. I'm really glad that they're actually taking an approach and trying to make these missions more kind of like, you know, there's mystery here, there's Easter eggs there, here's a puzzle, you might have to stealth here. So I really like that. It's really easy when making a game like Vermintide just to open up the funnel and then open it some more, because the more enemies we throw at people, the more fun it is, says Anderson. But you can also go the opposite direction of actually bringing down the tempo and making it a bit more lenient. We want to be able to still provide the gameplay experience where your heart is up here all the time, but we also want to expand it into a place where you actually have time to talk and breathe. Okay, if we lower the tempo, we get a completely different kind of mood, if you will, in a level. This is the one of the reasons why you won't be playing as a Space Marine, okay? So, you know, no playing as Space Marines, that's confirmed now, so obviously, well, that makes sense, obviously. So they want actually some parts of the level just to be sort of like where you're taking in the environment and just sort of experiencing the level. So I really like that. They're unstoppable juggernauts who in real-time setting could easily just march through hordes of the enemies, never needing to rest, and certainly never taking a break for a chat. They're stoic and a little boring, and Fatshop wants characters with charisma. Okay, really like that. I'm actually glad. I know a lot of people were kind of on and off about the Space Marine. This is not a Space Marine game. So they are, you know, saying no Space Marine. It's not going to just be, you know, you're going to be running through enemies. There are going to be moments to breathe during this. So I really do like that. So yeah, charisma and fear too, which Space Marines are largely unfamiliar with. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Slowing things down doesn't always mean making things comfortable. If there's a power outage, for instance, you'll have to rely on flashlights, oh my god, to see where you're going, making your exploration of the sector more methodical, but no less tense. An abandoned dark sector is obviously fertile ground for some horror, yes! While the Skaven are extremely unsettling, Darktide seems more primed to get you jumping out of your seat. Oh, I just noticed the bloody... Okay, well, we're going to talk about that in a second. Jumping out of your seat, at least when you're sneaking through pitch-black areas that are filled with poxwalkers and gruesome zombies cursed by the god of disease, Nurgle. Okay, so once again, Nurgle... I mean, oh my god, I have to talk about that in a second. Poxwalkers are Darktide's hordes enemies. They gather in large groups, and though weak individually, can overwhelm squads with their huge numbers and relentless attacks. So we've got left 40k dead, basically, here. What makes them different from the Skaven, though, is that they're not consistently dialed up to 11. When you see the Skaven, they're charging at you, screeching at the top of their lungs, but zombies are typically a bit more chill, giving squads the opportunities to sneak. I fucking called it! Sneaking. I told you. So we have sneak mechanics. I see, Fat Shark. You already. You know, I'm literally like, you know, where's my wallet? Like, I mean, give me the collector's edition right now. I'll pay for it and I'll do an unboxing. But like, you know, legit, like that is awesome. I'm so glad you're doing sneaking. So taking a book out of GTFO, I'm really liking that. But I can also make them even more dangerous than the Skaven. Just before we spoke, producer Stephen Briggs, I'm sorry, mate, I'm probably butchering the entire Fat Shark team here, found himself climbing up the ladder in the hive, believing himself to be alone, only to find a horde of poxwalkers just hanging out, waiting for him right at the top. If they'd been Skaven, they would have been jumping down the ladder straight away, spoiling their ambush. The poxwalkers got the better of Briggs. I'm sorry, once again. But next time, they might not appear there, or he might be able to mow them down with a very large gun. Okay, so before we move on, I'm going to talk about this. So we actually have a picture here of the characters. So, I mean, it's really hard for me to see. I'm going to try and get a nice detailed picture for you guys here. I would just hide behind the ogre, honestly. So, man, this is really hard what we've got here. So obviously we've got the ogre. He's definitely a gun lugger. I mean, I think he's holding a ripper gun there. I think that's a ripper gun he's holding. We've also got, man, this is really, okay, so I think we definitely have a Ministorm priest. Like, he's wielding some sort of hammer there. Like, it's not a chainsword, but it's definitely some sort of form of hammer he's got there. Yeah, I think definitely some Ministorm priest. It's very hard to see this because it's such a small picture. I mean, on the left, I think that's definitely a Kassakin. You know, that's definitely your weapons expert on the left there. So yeah, we've got some sort of Kassakin, maybe not some sort of stormtrooper, obviously. He's holding what looks like a las gun. Then we've got the Ministorm priest that's wielding a hammer, looking out to charge into a group of poxwalkers. We've also got the Ogren, which is obviously wielding, looks like a ripper gun. I'm so glad we've got an Ogren. The banter that they're going to have is going to be absolutely brilliant. And then we've also got, now this is the one that everyone, so I think it is a woman. She's definitely wielding a power sword. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that might be like a guardsman sergeant, but I'm probably wrong on that one. We got another nice picture of like some sort of generator room here, which looks very, very nice. So, actually, I almost missed on the side here, the weapons. So, I will obviously take a, picture for you guys. Tools of the trade. Choose your weapon. So, the bolt gun is definitely going to be in the game. The standard Space Marine weapon, the bolt gun is devastating bit of kit. A mobile cannon that can blow enemies smithereens. Smaller versions are carried by the Astra Militarum. Very, very, very cool stuff. Chainsaw, the classic melee weapon of the Imperium across the galaxy. Its sharp, grinding teeth makes quick work of thick armor and alien flesh. It's usually accompanied by the gun, so you can shoot and shred. Lasgun. Oh, it is okay, so it was a power hammer. Lasgun, the main weapon of the Imperial Army. The lasgun shoots out focused enemy beams that can sear off limbs and even puncture power armor. It's not the beast of the. It's not a beast of the bolter. It's not a beast as the bolter. It's still a good solid weapon. Power hammer. This boy is good at cracking armor, as it is rocks thanks to the destruction field that surrounds it. Just think of how many poxwalkers you could take out with one devastating swing. So actually, the Ministorm priest has actually got a power hammer in that. So it's not the same with power hammers in Astartes, but still, that's really cool that we've got a power hammer. So I mean, that's damn right awesome. So carrying on. Having all this, oh, whoa, okay, we got an even better picture here. Okay, oh my word. We are really, really going through this. So over here, try not to interrupt the poxwalkers when they are just shuffling around. So we've got a nice picture of the poxwalkers there. Looks like we've got another picture of some sort of, I don't even know what that is. So co-op is something that we're focused on even more this time around. So devastating weaponry means you can annihilate more enemies, and Fat Shark can throw even more at you, but not all the time. In the dark, making sure players aren't entirely sure what is lurking around the corner has been the key to keeping people around in Vermintide. And I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. Briggers says that Fat Shark taken a look out of all of its systems to see how it can throw more surprises at players. Reworked maps and refined Darktide's abilities to keep dragging everyone back to the hive. The city itself gives the team even more freedom to experiment. These Arcalites, I'm probably saying that wrong, are designed to house billions of people, and while the hive world may contain thousands of them, each is still a self-contained city that functions like a world within a world. The scale is huge, says Briggers. For me, what's really fun about a hive is even if the odds are 1 in a trillion, it's already happened, and that's just such a fun concept to play with. It even gives us a lot more room just to keep growing and doing interesting stuff for a long time. So clearly, you know, they're obviously looking here to make a very big, you know, game in that sense. One mission could see your squad navigating the hive's disgusting sewage system in the dark, while the next misadventure could take you to a well-lit inhabitant zone that might even contain NPCs and have yet to be killed or transformed by Nogle's minions. You probably won't be making your way through throngs of people, but there will be reminders that you're fighting in a place that was once teeming with life. Revisiting an area that once housed some NPCs and seeing it taken over by enemies or emptied by a deadly gas leak is also bound to have more of an impact, reinforcing that the stakes are making it clear that this is a war zone. So we've also got some nice pictures of the actual enemies here. So meet the neighbours. You'll be sharing the hive with Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers are the common cannon fodder of Nurgle's cursed armies, stabling plague-ridden husks that serve as living weapons of the Traitor Guard. Traitor Guard. So it is Traitor Guard. They attack with teeth and claws and whatever simple weapons they can find, and they keep mutating even following death. Like regular zombies, Poxwalkers can gather in hordes and can quickly swarm you. Traitor Guard. Traitor Guard are former members of the Astra Militarum who have pledged themselves to chaos. This regiment is the Mobian 6, deployed to help out the Mobian government, but are now attempting to seize power. These treacherous guardsmen fight with everything from simple melee weapons and chain axes to lasgun and combat shotguns. So chain axes, that's pretty cool. I really like that. I mean, here we go. I'm going to take a nice big picture of this one here, but we've got a beautiful picture of it. So Fat Shark hasn't confirmed all the classes yet, but here are some of the look of our playable characters. So, I mean, maybe it's not a Kassakin, but that definitely looks like some, obviously, Guardsman. The Ogren, wielding a massive combat. So this is actually based off the picture that we saw. So that person was actually just to the left, which is kind of interesting. Oh, that's some sort of, that's a woman. That's definitely a woman. So the Ministorum priest is definitely some sort of woman. I think that is a minister. Yeah, definitely a Ministorum woman. Ministorum priest. She's wielding a Thunderhammer. We've got the, I don't know, Kassakin or Guardsman with his chainsword. Ogren wielding a nice combat knife, and we've got ourselves, sorry of the light, I know I'm going to try and, I can't even get rid of it, but yeah, sorry of the light, but then we've got our sergeant or whatever it is, Guardsman. I don't know actually, I mean that's kind of an interesting uniform, it could be a sergeant with the power sword, or power knife, whatever, power sword, that's probably it. Main, hives aren't just big, they also are very tall, don't take the stairs. Okay, so we carry on. Where were we? So, dynamic missions seem to suit live service games in particular, where developers can react to player feedback, tweak modifiers, or introduce brand new ones in an update. The mission map can be altered instantly, basically says Dear Green, with Fat Shark able to wrench out a feature, like some bad weather, and make some changes and then pop it back in once it's happy with the improvement. So really, Fat Shark have made it now. I think, whilst it's on the same engine, they've clearly addressed a lot of the issues we've been asking in Vermintide and put them into Darktide. So, you know, if a map's getting too boring, they can just change it up like that and, throw it back in, and it's a completely new sort of, environment, if that makes sense. Different circumstances you've got to deal with. It also lets the team design special missions that appear for only a set time. Okay, that's cool. So maybe special gear if we get those. I hope the camera's probably picking this up. Wooden says these could come with additional unique rewards. Obviously, yeah, once again, encouraging dedicated players to watch out for them and just jump in as soon as one appears. If you're looking for a group to take on these missions, Fat Shark's trying to ensure that you will get to choose where you go. Where Vermintide 2 strongly encourages players to use quick play, which throws you into a random mission, Darktide will grant more freedom to choose specific missions to play. Excuse me. So that's really good. I really like that. The fact that, like, you know, because I think we all had the problems with the Darktide quick play and dedicated servers and all that sort of stuff. So the idea that now that you can have a lot more freedom when it comes to quick play and you can choose what missions you want to play, I think that's a really good thing. Co-op is something that we've definitely focused on even more this time around, says Dear Green, and that goes beyond letting you know you have more to say on where your co-op adventures take you. We're trying to find more places to introduce co-op, and one of the strongest ones are special enemies. But there's also customizing your loadout and with your team and making sure you've covered all your bases. Okay, I really want to hear about the enemies, because while the characters are really cool, I really want to know what special enemies we've got. Vermintide specialists, even the ones who couldn't take much of a beating, force players to work together. If there's an assassin around, you need to tell your teammates to keep their eyes open, or kill it if it jumps you. In Darktide, Fat Shark wants to use them to challenge players more and make them experiment with proper team tactics. Okay, it's still not settled on what these specialists will be. However, there's a lot of units that could fit the bill, and though the team is mostly restricted to the roster of the tabletop game, whatever the finalist ends up on being, the goal is to create encounters where it's imperative that players learn to cooperate effectively. So basically, you need to stick together now. This is what I'm hearing. This is going to be a lot more like, you know, if you go on your own, you're going to get screwed over, basically, by some Poxwalker, or some special, obviously. And if they don't, Briggs warns, or Briggaz, I know I'm saying it wrong, they're not going to survive. There are other things that might be used to bring players together, non-combat activities, for instance, and puzzles that there are a bit more involved in pushing some stones in the correct order. There might be times where the party has to split up, but not with the cooperative elements intact. Maybe two players could fight off waves of enemies while the other half of the quarter deal with less bloody problem. So another thing that we even talked about this in the top 10 things wanted for Darktide I made. Like, I know a lot of people in the forums wanted this. So we actually might be splitting up as a 2-2 split. You know, one group could be fighting off a wave, the other guys are going to be doing some sort of puzzle or something. So that's already, this sounds already great. I mean, this sounds really, really good. This could provide more opportunities for players to shine, even if they're not racking up on the kills. But Anderson emphasises that it is really about letting the whole team shine, letting everyone feel powerful together. It's way more fun moving down a horde together. Moving down a horde together than you doing it on your own with everyone else watching, he says. So the idea is to give everyone a chance to contribute, whether it's solving a puzzle, helping your squad by tanking a tough enemy, or utilising everyone's skills to kill a specialist. Darktide is still in this exciting stage where it's ripe with possibilities. But at this point, it's hard to predict what it will look like when it's finished. Fat Shark's idea of Darktide is still a compelling one, though drawing out the best bits of Vermintide and investigating why they work so well and how they can be applied in other places or taken in new directions. And honestly, you can't go far without chainswords. Sorry, you can't go wrong with chainsaws. God, I'm English, dyslexic, don't hurt me. So, I mean, we've got a nice shot of a cruiser here. I mean, this looks like one way maybe a mission that we might be doing here. When I was working, we've got the Poxwalker, got some sort of like a generator or some sort of, I don't know what that is, some sort of nurgly thing by the looks of it. 4 characters, obviously spoken about them, so moving on. Oh, that's it. That is it. Okay. Wow. Is that truly it, or is this just like an advertisement, bro? No, that is it. Okay, we actually have finished. Well, I mean, that's quite a lot of information there. I'm probably going to try and I might break it down in another video, just so it's a bit more simpler, so I don't want someone doesn't have to read for all this. I'm probably going to do it a lot more structured. But yeah, that's pretty amazing stuff. I mean, that has really got me hyped. I mean, while the characters and the enemies sound cool, the way they're going about the missions is really impressed me, so I can't wait to see it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think. I always like to read the comments, and obviously you can criticise the way I've called the Fat Shark devs, or how I pronounced anything else in this. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.